cried the sparrow.
You're listening to the Sailing into Oblivion podcast, where we sit down with everyday people who do extraordinary things. I'm your host, Jerome Rand.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Ooh, it's good to be back on land. It's good to be tied off to a dock for a couple of days, getting some work done and getting Sparrow prepped and ready to then bounce out for a little while. But today, we're going to start with a two-part series from this last voyage from Fort Pierce up here to North Carolina, where I'm dubbing it the speed run because I had a good forecast for ripping up the Gulf Stream, and my previous 24-hour run record was 214 miles, set with old Bojangles back in the day. And this was a chance for me to up the game on that a little bit with a 3.5 knot northerly current. So that was what I was going for. But more than anything, it was just great to be back on Sparrow and have a lot of fun out there, out at sea, even if it was pretty short-lived. So hopefully you enjoy these recordings. It's a whole bunch of little segments just weaved together. And yeah, I figure we'll do it this format for this one. And yeah, so we've got a part one and then a part two. So hopefully you enjoy these shows. If you want to help support the podcast, you know what to do. Hit those links. There's a lot of stuff from Patreon to one-time donations, and then all the merch and the books and all that sort of stuff, and then sailingintooblivion.com. So check all that out. Big thanks to those that do take me up on all those offers and help support the show, because you all are absolutely amazing, because you enjoy the content and you want it to keep coming, and so you help it out financially. Really, really appreciate it. And without further ado, part one of the speed run. Thanks for listening. All righty. Wow. What a flash forward. A mere, couple of hours since the last podcast with Mark sitting down after our voyage aboard sailing vessel Montana. Well, folks, believe it or not, we are back almost on the high seas. We're coastal sailing right now, only because I don't want to bash into these 3 to 4 foot waves. So I'm headed about 015, and we just left Fort Pierce about 3 hours ago. So we're dialed in. It's time to crack an ice-cold collector's edition Busch Light. Oh, and just enjoy a little calm. How about that? What do you say we just throttle back for a second? That was a whirlwind turnaround. That's what we're going to get into on this first edition. But before we start, like I always say, if you want to help support this podcast, keep it going, get me new microphones, all that sort of stuff, consider checking out the links in the description. We got everything from Patreon to one-time cash apps to the Amazon wish list, and then books, merch, all that sort of stuff. And you can always check out sailingintooblivion.com if you want to inquire about having me come and speak at your event, or if you're looking for some coaching and consulting. We do it virtually. We do it in person. It's, like I was saying in the last one, Sailing into Oblivion School of Seamanship, or as I like to call it, soy sauce. Yes, it is official. It's official and what was the word that I said? Proudly? It's, shoot. My brain doesn't work. I can't wait to get a nice little 3-hour sleep tonight and get right back into the zone. But I'm not certified by any governing bodies, which is kind of cool, actually. I was a member of the whole U.S. Sailing, and oh, man, what were the other ones? There were a whole lot. I used to hold all these certificates, and all I can remember is it was such a pain in the butt to try and keep up with them, pay the dues that you had to pay so that you'd have this little card, and, not throwing shade on any of those, but I met a lot of people with a lot of cards, and I'm not going to lie, those cards didn't really hold up to to what they said they did. Okay, let's move on. Let's stay positive here. Geez, turn around. Holy smokes. Oh, that is a lukewarm one. Fridge is on the fritz, and I found that one out, about an hour outside of the inlet, unfortunately. But you know me, I got my old tricks up my sleeve, so I boiled up some water with the kettle, threw it in a pan, threw it in the freezer, and boom, we are freezing up as we speak. There's some sort of particle in there. You've heard me go on about this in the past, but essentially, if you have one of these cooling plates that, and I suppose it would work with one of the flat ones, but if you got one of those old school ones that kind of looks like you'd find in your college dormitory little fridge, you can throw a little pot of hot water in there for about 15 minutes with the compressor off. It pushes all the Freon back through the compressor, and including whatever stupid little particle has jammed up your system. And then flip it back on after about 15 minutes, and she should run trouble-free for quite some time. So I'm chilling some ice and keeping all the lovely food that I have. Is so fun. Trying to provision for a 4-day trip, super easy. Pretty much sandwiches, eggs, bacon. You only need one pack of each, and a couple of dinners for the nights. Easy peasy, and I am loving it. I'll probably end up with extra. I did on accident. Maybe it was a unconscious sort of thing, but I ended up with 2 18 packs of crispy BL. I don't know if I double clicked the add to cart button on the old Instacart. Shout out to the whole Instacart thing. I gotta say, I really love that, and I think that's one of those things where technology has also created a job. If I'm not an expert in this sort of thing, but if it alleviates me from having to go to the grocery because I don't have a car, then suddenly somebody gets paid a little bit of money to go and do the shopping, drop it off, and then, you get to tip them and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's pretty nice. I really, I must say, that's pretty cool. In a world where fearing job loss from technology, there are some benefits, I suppose. Now, essentially, yesterday, get in, clean up the boat a little bit, have a stiff pineapple and rum concoction, which basically after 4 or 5 days of no alcohol and very little alcohol for the past couple of weeks, hit me like a ton of bricks. So showered up, made all my phone calls, and it was just a logistical sort of endeavor. So I need my head screwed on straight because essentially had to figure out not only whether this passage would work straight off the cuff, but also if then I can get a car, where I can pick one up, where I can drop one off, all the costs involved for the next coaching and consulting gig up on the Chesapeake Bay, and coordinating all of this stuff. And it's just like, I can bear it. My brain is still sort of wallowing in the Gulf Stream, 5-6 foot waves that we were dealing with. And now I'm trying to like book and reserve things and many, many phone calls. But somehow we got all that done. Sunset, was able to just sit in the cockpit on the dock, relax, take it in, take a moment to just, relish the fact that we had an awesome trip. Be able to, I don't know, just have a think about it. I think that's important. Sometimes I move so darn fast that I forget to just stop and take it in those moments. And, when you have a success, when you have something that goes well, I think it's very important just to sit for a second and take it in and enjoy it. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now as well. But before I continue, I'm going to check and make sure I'm not going to hit anything. It's pretty wide open out here. Not going to lie. Woo! We've got a few miles to go. Probably a couple hours probably to go before we actually enter the Gulf Stream. Right now we have full mainsail and staysail, and that's it. The wind's 15 knots, if that. We're on kind of a close reach, maybe a beam reach. Not powered up at all, but that's okay. I'm actually I like to ease Sparrow back into it, stretch her out a little bit before just putting up the big sails and trying to do, I don't know, 6.5 knots in the old west sail. So we'll revisit sail plan at about 6 p.m. because also by about that time we should be closing in on the stream, and then also our winds are going to be coming around a little more out of the south. So it's going to be time for full-on beam reach into broad reach. Could be a really fast passage if all goes well, which would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to have a day or two actually up there to do a little TLC on Old Sparrow. I kind of feel a little guilty because I basically, parked her, took off for 2 months, and then showed up today, and I'm just like, let's do this. And, I'm climbing up the mast. I had a halyard that jumped the sheave. Undid that. Dude, shout out to Mark. Holy cow. So he's got a scuba set up, and, we met up this morning for breakfast, do the podcast and everything, and he's like, yeah, dude, no, I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to clean Sparrow's bottom. And I totally was like, yeah, right. Funny. That'd be so nice because I don't even know if I'm going to be able to have time to do that, which I definitely didn't. There was no way. I was just going to have to go out here with a filthy bottom. Nobody likes that. No, he was serious. Dude was freaking serious. How legendary is that to just be like, yeah, I'll clean the bottom. Sparrow is clean. He's down there for 2 hours. Totally just voluntary. Oh, man. Sometimes you meet people, and I've said it before, but one of the greatest things that's come out of the whole deciding to start coaching and consulting is that, I get to form these friendships with people and these relationships. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so, so lucky, and I count my blessings every day that there's people out there that I can pick up the phone, connect with, plot and plan, passages, sailing, anything. And just, good people. Mark and Steph, man, you're salt of the earth. So Sparrow is now doing, let's see, what are we doing? Oh, 6.4 knots. There must be a little current because we are underpowered. But, yeah, we're going to probably be seeing 10, 11 knots come morning time when we're in the 3.5 knot Gulf Stream current going north. I look forward to that. And I will say there is a chance maybe to try and break our 24-hour record if we can get to 200. I've always dreamt it would be so cool to get to 250 miles. Chances of that happening pretty rare. I'm not going to lie, but we'll see. We'll see. If I can get 220, that'd be pretty sick. 240 would be awesome, averaging 10 knots. That's going to take some special circumstances. Oh, man, delicious. So, game plan. I'm going to do podcasts as many as I can this whole trip, 3-4 days. We'll put them out like we did before, day after day after day, make up for my little faux pas of that break. And, it should be pretty fun. We're past the full moon, so we're going to get some epic stars. But we will get some moon in the later hours, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to be doing celestial navigation the whole time on this trip and trying to forego using the GPS and see if we can find Cape Fear that way, which would be pretty sweet. And that'll start tomorrow. So all I had to do today was basically mark it on the chart and keep filling in my logbook. One of the things that helps when you are just trying to do dead reckoning is that instead of doing every 6 hours logbook updates, you're doing them maybe every 3 hours, because then you're you're able to detail any changes when you're trying to do your calculations and stuff. So we're going back to the old school. We still got the AIS on, but other than that, it's AIS, refrigerator, and nav lights, and some fans because it is boiling down here. I think it's 84 degrees, but not too shabby. But yeah, I mean, as far as getting Sparrow ready, she was just going. The one thing I forgot to do, and I noticed the old temperature gauge on the engine up a little higher than it should have been. So if I get a nice calm sea later on in the voyage, I think we're going to pull out the sea strainer, check that out. If that's all clogged up and gunky, then clean it. Might open up the heat exchanger and see if that's all jarred up, and then also exchange the impeller because, I don't know, I mean, it wasn't climbing and continuously. It just sat a little bit higher, a couple millimeters higher than it normally does. I gauge it because behind the little dial, the little indicator, it says, water temp. And so that usually sits right on the edge of the W. We were kind of in the middle of the W. Not to 180 degrees by any means, but I don't know if that has ever been super accurate by any means. Oh, I'm repeating myself still. I am a little tired. But yeah, so we're looking good. We're going to keep plugging away. I'm going to do as many of these as I can. I might do another one a little later once I get further offshore, maybe a sundowner session. And I don't know. It's kind of nice. I think I'm just going to be keeping the microphone and everything set up because I can just bolt it straight into this wood and not worry about damaging it. Because I always worry about that on Montana because she's so beautiful. I'm like putting books and other things in between the clamps and the wood, and always got to make sure because it's so beautiful, that boat. Absolutely magnificent and just a beast. Sparrow's a beast. All right, Sparrow's my favorite. No lie. I wouldn't change her out, switch her with anything, but Montana's right up there. I mean, absolutely stunning. So, yeah, that'll be round one, and we'll just continue to do these. And I'm just going to kick back, enjoy, do a little safety check, make sure everything's looking good up top. And then, I don't know, maybe come up with my game plan for throwing a little more sail up and putting the old afterburner on. See if we can start challenging our 24-hour record, which is 212 miles in 24 hours, set by myself and Mr. Bojangles. Shout out to Ben out there in Texas or wherever he is off surfing at the moment. I don't know if he's doing that right now, but yeah, this guy's total legend. Does the AT, goes back to Texas. He does like roofing stuff. Saves all his pennies and then just plans the next trip. And he goes to surf the far off places, Alaska, Patagonia, all these like epic destinations where obviously you can find a lot of private waves, which sounds pretty good to me. Sounds pretty cold though too, I'm not gonna lie. All right, thanks for listening, and until next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yelling because I'm waiting for my cup of coffee here. So forgive my loud approach to this, but I figure if you're going to join in on the fun, man, it's the good, bad, and the ugly. Although there's nothing too ugly about what's going on now. We just entered the Gulf Stream. Just the outer edge, though. So nothing to write home about. We are currently doing 7.5 to 8 knots on a lovely close reach. Oh, this water tastes terrible. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, I can smell it right from here. Oh! Yikes. We're gonna have to see. Jeez, please, let me get dialed in here. We're gonna have to see. There we go. Welcome to the evening edition, part 2, Sailing into Oblivion. Sailing the speed run from Fort Pierce, Florida, all the way to Cape Fear, North Carolina. Yeah, it's we're right on the cusp. We're in probably one knot of current going north, with only mere hours before we're in a 3-knot northerly current. We get to crack off the wind a little bit and blast our way due north, which I'm super excited about. It's getting a little lumpier, I should say. We're carrying main staysail and number 1 jib. Close reaching, so we're heeled over a bit, but I have the interior lights on. I made a pizza. Had the sundowner, watched a beautiful sunset, dodging all sorts of cruise ships leaving Canaveral. We got a wide open space in front of us. I'm not seeing any menacing clouds, knock on wood. Dunk, dunk, dunk. At this point, so I think we're kind of doing pretty well. Not gonna lie, it feels good. Sparrow is just absolutely galloping. The seas are not as big as they were yesterday morning. When we were exiting the Gulf Stream, the winds are definitely a little bit tamer, which is good. I like that. I don't want to press her too hard. Oh, this coffee's so good, but boy, I can taste that water. And that's not good because that water has been run through 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 different filters to get into my cup. And still can't take care of that taste, but whatever. I'm sure it won't kill me, and I'm just going to make my coffees extra strong. It's going to be like a triple espresso with a little creamer in it. So I'm okay with that. Jamming podcasts, listening to music. This has been just great. Getting a few things sorted, a few things cleaned up. You know, the vinegar and water's been getting sprayed around. We got the spray skirts on. Forgive me if I talked about this on the earlier podcast already, but we are geared up. Oh, man. Okay, that was a bit of a gallop there. The trick is really, especially with the west sail, because we got that big rounded bow, is to not be so into the waves that we launch over the top and smash down on the trough. Right now, we're on the cusp. So I think what I'm going to do is go up, consult Mongo, give him 1 click to port, and we're going to bear away just a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and do another part. So I think that is the game plan. Well, let's just hold on. Let's hold fire for now. We don't want to act too abruptly, but yeah, we are doing 7.5 knots over the ground, not through the water. Oh, geez. Yeah, I got to go make some adjustments. I'll be back. Welcome back. Geez. Let me clear my throat on the podcast for everybody. Well, we are fully juicing now. 10 knots, holding average speed, sometimes 10-10, or some might call that 11. And sometimes 9-7, but more about 10-3. We're really juicing along quite nicely. We're in the stream. I would believe that the stream forecast is not correct because I'm pretty sure I'm not doing that through the water. And forecast is showing me on the edge, 1 knot, 1.5 of current, but obviously we've got about 3. Oh, geez. Oh, security. All right. Yeah, gotcha. Jeez Louise. Got the radio on because I've got a pleasure craft, which I'm overtaking. Thank you very much. Not sure if they're a sailboat or not, but it's called Sequin. Kind of a play on words there, as we all love those boat names. But yeah, it's just juicy. We got full stars. Scorpio rises to the east. Orion sets to the west. The Dipper is leading our way. Man, it is just phenomenal. I was relaxing in my bunk for a little bit. Might hunker down, do a little reading, pick up where I left off in my last Cussler book, Trojan Odyssey, I think it is. No, not Trojan Odyssey. It's like something with Genghis Khan. Sorry, Genghis Khan. And, yeah. Oh, geez, are we hitting 11? Are we hitting 11? Oh, come on, give me 11. 10-5, 10-6, 10-9. Oh, man. Yeah, this is good. This is real good. Like I was thinking about it, and the ETA that I'm coming up with in my head is like a day and a half, which is ridiculous. If I did this trip in 2 days, I don't even know what I'd say. Like, I'd probably just hang it up and retire on that note. I know it's not going to happen because we're going to run out of the wind eventually. But for now, I'm just going to cling on to this beautiful rip aboard this beautiful boat. The water tastes terrible. Ugh. But that's okay, because that's just part of it. And the boat, you know, we're just doing what we do. So I'm gonna go overtake this vessel, and then I got to fill in the logbook. Oh, it is 12. Oh Lord, is it 12:15? Oh man, I'm late. Well, you know what? I'm not on a schedule here, folks. I really just want to be able to do a little recording here and there without beholding to the almighty timekeeper of my watch. Although I do really like to fill in that logbook correctly. So I'm going to call it on this little quick session, but hopefully, oh my Lord, hopefully I'm going to be able to crack off of this wind a little bit more. I want to be a flatboat Phil. I want to be a ease the sheet Earl. That's, just the type of person I am. I want to be a searching for comfort Carl. But I'm also a speedy Steve, all right? I got a need for the speed, and if we can lay down some record times on this trip, man, oh man, there's nothing going to be better. So, without further ado, I'm going to go do the log. I'm going to go stare at some stars, then I'm going to hunker down, read a little Clive. I don't know what could be better than this. Like, this is just, this is like, it's just, sometimes you get these little slices, these just short duration. Man, oh man, it's just so good. We need to relish. We need to utilize. We need to make sure that not for a second does it escape us how lucky we are sometimes in life. So take that for what you will. Thanks for listening. All right, checking in. The witching hour. No, it's not the witching hour. It's the end of the dog watch. It is currently 6 in the a.m. Sun is coming up soon. Well, in the next hour. Venus rose quite a while ago. But the big news, folks, we hit a hole, unfortunately, in the wind. I woke to slatting mainsail. I can't believe it. Our speed run is done. There's just no way you can come back from like a 4-hour. So, at least the pressure's off. Now I don't have to like push the boat. Sparrow probably is going to enjoy that. I'm going to relax a little bit. I've got my coffee with my stinky water, which, it's palatable. I've had to add a lot of coffee to it. Bustilo. But, yeah, boy, that's just awful. I got to get to the bottom of this. I have a feeling it's the hoses. I got to replace all the plumbing in this boat. I think the tanks are fine. I think it's just the hoses are gross. And I think also the main filter that I'm using is probably bad. So I'm going to rip that sucker out. I'm going to basically do whatever I can to try and make the next 2 days a little more pleasant as far as hydration goes. But yeah, I mean, if that's, I don't think it's, I think it's just taste. I don't think it's anything to worry about. If it comes to that, then obviously we're going to beeline for some sort of port so we can at least pick up a few gallons of H2O. But I think we're going to be okay. I've drank some pretty gross water in my days, especially camping. But yeah, this just has this, it has this flavor to it that I don't know. I kind of had a hint of before. Well, now I'm getting punched in the face with it. It's a little like, whoa, oh yeah. So I guess we're just gonna, have BLs or something when we're thirsty. Yeah, slept pretty good. Just crashed out. Got a couple hours in, so feeling rested, believe it or not. And yeah, it was great. Systems are all working pretty well, and we're still just the three sheets to the leeward. We've got beautiful, quarter or half moon that rose just after midnight. Feels good. Feels real good. A lot of podcasts and music and hunkering down in the old bunk with a good book. What else can you ask for? The only thing I'm asking for at this point is, when should I start making some breakfast? I got my eye on some eggs and bacon and maybe a little cheese on a nice toasted sandwich. That sounds pretty good to me. Although I did think I might just do a big old thing of scrambled eggs. I'm not too sure. The possibilities, folks, are endless. The only thing I don't have are potatoes, but that's okay. Don't really need those for the breakfast. And sometimes, honestly, on the boat, especially if it's a little bit bouncy like it is right now, that can become a little bit tedious, if you will. Slicing and dicing, all those sort of things. I like to have, and I don't have one on board right now because the old one was super rusty, is a cheese grater, because that works great for making my hash browns. Oh, man, I am hungry. If I'm talking about food already on the pod, yeah, it's time to devour some delicious breakfast treats. You know it's my favorite meal. If you've listened to the show, you know. This guy right here, he's a breakfast guy. I didn't get any wraps this time, though. My go-to is always the burrito, just for form, function, and flavor. But I have some lovely, lovely bread. Not homemade, but I'll take it for what it is. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of keep trucking away. So. Just figured I'd do a quick check-in. We're going to compile a bunch of these. I think originally I had my game plan of like, I'm going to buckle in and we're going to do like 20, 30-minute shows and we're going to put them out every day. You know what? Did that. Been there, done that. Let's try something different where I think we're going to compile. I'm going to try and record as much as I can each day, and then we're just going to compile each day into these little segments, because, and here's the thinking, is that when you're on a sailing trip like this, it's 5 minutes of fun followed by like 3 hours of boredom, so to speak. And that's more of just a comparison. Like, obviously, I'm enjoying myself pretty much the whole time, even when it's slatting and I find a hole in the wind. There's some joy in this. But you know what I mean. It's essentially, there will be little happenings. We get through those. I'll turn the recorder on, and boom, we'll get it down, and then and then we'll go on from there. So that's sort of the game plan. Day 2. We still haven't been out here for 24 hours yet. We still got another essentially 9 hours before that happens. But yeah, we're going to try and do some noon sights today. We're going to lock in the old sun, measure it off the horizon, and calculate, hopefully, our latitude. And if I get my act together and do a little studying, we're going to get back into the longitude as well. Not particularly tricky the way that I do it, but which is called the quick longitude check. But still, I haven't done that one in quite some time. Latitude, I think I could whip that out no problem, but longitude is a little more involved, if you will. So, breakfast, sunrise, got my stinky coffee. What else can you ask for? Life is good. Thanks for listening. Here we go. All right, welcome back. Woo! Oh, I'll tell you what. Before I even start this, I am having a great time. This is too much fun. I got 2 naps in already, and we're just hooning it north. Still in the stream. Just finished my sun-shot latitude check. And was about 2 miles out, so not happy about that. But haven't done it since the early days on the Montana voyage. But yeah, we're gonna take a gander here. If I can get this chair to stop squeaking. We're essentially entering. We're entering day 2. Technically, I'm flipping through my logbook here. All right. So I've got us logged at 3 p.m. I know we left the inlet at Fort Pierce around 2. It is currently 1:26 p.m. So we're in our 23rd hour of flying up the coast of Florida. And our first 24-hour run, or not 24-hour, our departure to noon run was 176 miles. Not bad. Let's just pull up a little device here and see where we're at closer to our 24-hour run. Jeez. I tell you, this luck grib, we're just, every single time I look at this, because we're in the stream, and we're moving, 9-10 knots. It's just constantly moving. All right, from Fort Pierce, right now, as the crow flies, straight line, we're 186 miles. No, sorry, 179 nautical miles from Fort Pierce in a direct route. We have pretty much run a straight line almost, with just a little skew to get out to the stream. So, yeah, I mean, our first 24-hour run's coming in, it's going to come into about 180 miles. What I'm going to do, because it's one of those things where you consider the 24-hour run record, right? Of like, oh, man, I did this many miles in 24 hours. And the only problem is I feel like that can be manipulated, like as if all of a sudden at 3:16 a.m. the wind comes on. So boom, you mark that, and then at 3:16 a.m. the next day That's when you stop it. You see how many miles you did in that 24 hours. Excuse me. And that's how you go. And I there's something about that, and I don't know what it is, but there's something about that seems a little disingenuous. Where, and I totally feel like I'm being nitpicky for sure. I'm being a nitpicky Ned. That's going to be a rolling theme on this podcast. Those nickname type jobbies, because I'm just enjoying them. Let's just get over it and buckle up, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where I kind of feel like how can you just sit there and adjust your time frame? Now, ideally, in a perfect world, bear with me, perfect Pat world, we have noon to noon. It is noon where you are. You start marking it there. It's your noon to noon, 24-hour run. I am prepared to consider the midnight to midnight run as also plenty valid for a 24-hour record run. And if I'm going to go that far, and this is only from my own personal sort of humble opinion, is that if you're going to go noon to noon or midnight to midnight, because I typically log in the ship's log every 6 hours, so I do, midnight, 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m., midnight. Well, I suppose a case could be brought before the court for, you could do 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. as your start point. I mean, you have to pick one no matter what, right? And what you go with is what you go with. You can adjust. I don't know. And I don't know. I might be just absolutely crazy because I've been out at sea for a few weeks at this point. We're closing in on 3 weeks out at sea. Cheers to that. Oh, this coffee is good. Finally sorted out I shouldn't say I sorted it out, but I switched out all the filters. And I got rid of the brown filter that was the main filtration system. Pulled out the RV hose filter and replaced that one with a new one, and then I stopped using the old Brita filter. I thought I had another one of those. Preparation, man. I'll tell you, I did not have time to sit there and make a list. Would have been smart. Had I made a list, it probably would have saved me time thinking about it now. But whatever. Lesson learned. Always make a list. I'm always preaching that. And, the one time I don't live up to it because I'm in such a darn hurry to leave, then I forget all these things. But, yeah, with the one new hose RV filter thing in there, the water tastes better. The coffee tastes delicious, and not with a foul taste and smell. It was pretty bad, folks. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually pondering last night as I tried desperately to drink this coffee that tasted so bad. I was like, man, maybe a quick little offshoot to Charleston or something like that might be in order, just to pick up some fresh water. But saner heads prevailed. The idea of a record run, it's proud me forward. I'm not going to lie. We had a sailboat pacing us last night, and I guess they peeled off. Must have been headed to either Jacksonville or Savannah, something like that, and they disappeared over the horizon sometime this morning. Between me frying some bacon and cooking some eggs for a delicious breakfast. Haven't had to do anything with the sails but a few tweaks and twists. Trying desperately to stay in the stream. essentially in about 30 miles, it's gonna do a dog leg to the east, and I actually want to ride that to as much as I possibly can. Then there will be a little tiny gap, and I hook back into an eddy just south of Cape Fear. But believe it or not, okay, let's pull this up. We're kind of using old school and new school as far as technology goes. But we have easing winds over the next 24 hours. So the drifter and everything is going to come out. I pulled the drifter out this morning because we came into this lull. Woke up, with the sail slatting. I think I talked about it on the last show. And a little frustrating. I was just like, man, what the heck? It really wasn't in the forecast to drop down below like 6 knots. And I was like, man, I just throw up a bunch more sail. I looked at forecasts and and I don't like to choose my sail plan on the forecast. I think that is a mistake. I think it will lead you to missing hours and hours of great sailing because that, if I put a drifter up, we'll be sailing. It'll be awesome. And yeah, the forecast says it's going to crank up in 30 minutes, but that might be 3-4 hours. So I like to choose my sail plan, long story short, on the actual environment of what's going on. So I grabbed the drifter at one point this morning, and I walked up to the bow and pull it out of the bag, start to unroll it, and boom, the wind starts to pick up. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, this is too much wind for that. I don't want to be that powered up. And then I take it, bag it back up, take it back to the cockpit. We've got mainsail, staysail, and the number 1 jib, which is a decent sail plan for sure. Back to the cockpit, wind drops off again. Murph's Law is definitely in effect at this point. Okay, so right now, our current position, we are looking at an ETA of 22 hours, 23 hours, so like a day. So I'm probably, if I'm able to get through the little gap, it definitely isn't accurate because right now it's showing 10.9 knots boat speed, pretty much directly where we need to go. And I'm only going to be riding that for a little bit. So probably we could tack on, because it's only 220 miles, we could probably tack on another like 4-5 hours. So I think, and let's just check, I think it might be a heading in at sunset kind of thing. But let's check and see what the winds and everything are going to be like. Because one of the things is these inlets, you gotta plan to hit them correctly. You don't want that outgoing current and incoming wind and all that sort of stuff. All right, Sunday, April 20th. It's going out late in the afternoon. Oof. So that's not really great. Well, we'll have to get into that later. I don't want to bore you with me staring at some little screen, trying to calculate and figure out. Chances are, though, tomorrow, either in the sunset hours or in the lovely nighttime hours, I will be pulling in and finishing up this trip like 2 days before I thought I would. How much of a rook am I out here? Jeez Louise. Like, I don't know. I guess I wanted to, I was erring on the side of caution because I have this schedule I have to keep, and I'm kind of like, all I could see were all the things that could go wrong that suddenly would prevent me from getting to the destination and being able to pick up the car to get to the next job and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know, it's like this natural thing of just like all the things that could go wrong. That's what I'm focusing on. And I really definitely was checking myself and being like, dude, you know what? You're going to be able to sort it out. Because this is one of the things that I talk about a lot of times on some of these coaching sessions when I'm with people and we're trying to get to a certain comfort and confidence level. And part of the issue, and it comes up almost all the time, is like all the what ifs and all the, oh man, this could happen or that could happen, and that's all they think about. And a lot of times I'm in the same situation. I'm sitting there thinking about all the terrible things that might happen. Meanwhile, it's a beautiful day and it's gorgeous and like the boat's sailing well, and I'm not even paying attention to that at all because I'm sitting there going back and forth about what might happen next week or whatever. And this was really poignant in the trip around the world, or any of the big trips, but the trip around the world especially was, I'm out in the Atlantic Ocean. It's beautiful. I'm absolutely hooning it. We had great weather for the first 2 weeks until Hurricane Ophelia came out, and making great way east. It was like downwinding. It was awesome. We had that one calm that was so beautiful with the moon rising and the phosphorescence. But, I'm sitting there in my head worrying about the Southern Ocean and all the things that might happen down there. And, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think shrinking down the focus definitely helps for sure. But also I'm starting to think, just being cognizant of the fact that, oh, hey, you're being a worry Wally. You're being you're being a downer Don, where you're just that's a terrible one. All you're thinking about is the future. You need to live in the present, work on the present, do what you can today, keep the big plan in your head, and then but enjoy what you're doing, because you're going to end up at that place that you're worried about anyway, eventually. And chances are, if you focus on what you're doing now, you're going to be in a way better spot when you get there. So I don't know. I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm going to go right now and enjoy the rest of my time up on deck in this beautiful afternoon. Then I'm going to take a nap, but only after I read a few more chapters of my Clive Cussler novel. Dirk Pitt, man, they're out there. I swear they're going to find Genghis Khan's grave, which would be awesome. I mean, everybody wants to know where that is. All right, have a good one. Oh, golly. Frustration levels are at an all-time maximum. Welcome back to the show. Frustration edition. We have this afternoon, basically since about 2 p.m., and it is now ticking close to 7 p.m., getting close to sundowner time, which is good because I'm gonna need it. We found ourselves in Dying Breeze with ugly swell and cross seas. We're at a point where the Gulf Stream is going to take a dog leg out into the Atlantic, and we're getting a lot of swirlies and all that sort of stuff. Which actually, the only good thing is it cements this idea that these forecast models that were shown on these screens are completely, I don't want to say completely wrong, but they're definitely not. They're not super accurate. I'm going through cross currents and eddies and things like that, where I should be like in the middle of the Gulf Stream. I just went through some serious slop and chop for about 15 minutes, where breaking waves. And it's blowing like 7 knots out there right now. The flag is limp. We're barely making way with a drifter and a mainsail. Both are slatting pretty hard with the swell. The noise is annoying. All I'm trying to do is get out of the Gulf Stream proper. I don't know if you can hear the cacophony of noise that's going on outside of this boat, but oh, the motion is awful as well. There's about a 4-foot swell that's coming in from the east. Then there are head seas, and then there's some little southerly wind chop that is leftovers from the last few days. So, how do we turn the frown upside down? That's a question. And the answer is not Busch Light, but I am having one right now. That's Luke Cold. Love it. Yeah, it is. It's just one of those things where, you're bound to, we're fully juiced, just ripping up here, doing hundreds of miles in very little time, and it's awesome. And then you hit this stuff, and it's just slop, and there's nothing you can do. There is nothing. I could fire up that engine, and still we'd be just slatting our mainsail and sloppy and and I'd have to hand steer and all that. And that's not going to get me anywhere faster or anything like that. So what I'm trying to do is find just the perfect angle with the breeze where I can be on pretty much like a beam reach, powered as much as possible, oversheeting the main for stabilization, utilizing the drifter for actual propulsion. But until these waves ease up and the swell eases up, or the winds increase by 3-4 knots maybe. And there's a lot of sass in my tone there, because it's oftentimes you're stuck in these situations where it's like, dude, 2 more knots of wind and we will no longer need the motor, sort of thing. So yeah, a little less than super stoked, but again, it is beautiful out. The sun is going to set pretty soon. We're in for a nice docile evening, I think. The winds, I think as I creep away from the Gulf Stream, I think once I get out of the Gulf Stream proper, things should settle down as far as the sea state, and then I should be in a position where then the sails will grip the wind, the light winds that we'll have for the next 24 hours, and get us up there. So I don't know. All in all, it's not a bad situation. It's just one of those things. I think a lot of it is the juxtaposition of we're fully ripping at 10 knots, and now we are struggle bunny in these sloppy seas. I mean, believe it or not, though, we are still doing like 8 knots. We're in the middle. We're in the full flow. The stream's got to be doing 3.5 knots, if not more, because we are barely moving through this water. And so that's good. The mileage is still going to be up there for sure, but the comfort and the ease of sailing and the ambiance of, you think, oh my God, it's just so brutal. I always hate it when especially when the drifter is collapsing and filling up. Like I usually don't like to let this happen for very long, because I know that shock load is not good for the rig, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I gotta go back up there and keep an eye on it. It's the weirdest thing, and I don't know. This is like not to get supernatural with everybody, but there's the funniest thing. If I go down below on Sparrow, like perfect conditions, everything's totally fine. I go down on Sparrow, typically, all of a sudden, mainsail slats, something happens, we go off course. I go back up top, everything's perfect. We're all good. It's all good. It's kind of as if Sparrow does not want me to just go down below and hang out and do my thing and chill. It's oh my God, it's so bad up there. All right, I'm calling it. We'll check back in after.